Thank you guys for being here. I hope you brought your questions. And as I said, I'm going to, my wreath making group is open through tomorrow night. And I'm making a post here both on Facebook and YouTube. Let me get YouTube up and running. And that is a link that you can go and see all the details. If you don't want to ask here publicly, then it'll have all the details there and where you can sign up also. So as I said, it closes tomorrow night at midnight and it won't be open again until fall. So if you're interested, you might pop on. There's no obligation to stay. Cancel anytime. If you get in there and you don't like it, you can leave. But I have to say that is rare for people to decide to leave. So we have a fun time in there. Let me get this here. Let's make wreaths. And if you can't find the link, it's letsmakewreaths.com. Pretty easy. So I wanted to show you what I just now finished. We did one of our freestyle live videos. We do 2 of those a month and then 4 regular edited tutorials. We just got done making this in my private group. Isn't that cute for Thanksgiving? Good grief. For St. Patrick's Day. Cute, cute, cute. I really like it. And we make arrangements and wreaths and garlands, swags. Have fun. Hey Anita, and there's Bonnie, Lillian, Beth, how are you? And there's Connie again. So anyway, I wanted everybody just to submit their questions. I did get some by email that I've got here in front of me. And if you have any questions, just pop on, put them in the comments, and I am happy to answer them for you as best I can. And yeah. So anybody have any questions to start out? Who wants to go first? I'll be going back and forth from YouTube, and then like I said, I've got some email questions here that I will be answering also. Hey Connie. All right, we'll start out, and this, I tell you what, this is a question I get asked all the time. I recommend using a glue pot. I also have a glue gun as well. Okay, this is the glue gun I like to use. It's a Sure Bonder. It's old and it's beat up, but I really like it. I like it that it is cordless, because sometimes you need to get into the inside of a wreath, and you know, that cord will drag across everything. But I really like this. I just get this at Hobby Lobby or Amazon. I do have a link for it if you're interested on shopliketeri.com, where it'll take you to the exact one that I have. But it stays on that stand and it's rechargeable. But for the most part, especially when I'm working with florals, I like to use a glue pot. And this is the one I use, and I use this to, you know, if I can't dip a stem in the pot or something. And I just got this off Amazon too. And again, I've got another link on shopliketeri.com for this. But a question I get asked a lot is, what temperature should the glue pot be at? And I can't really answer that with a specific answer. The answer is whatever temperature it takes you to get your glue at a honey consistency. And you know, like mine, it doesn't, all it has is hot, medium, warm, medium, and high. And my dial is just a little past medium, and that's how it gets to the honey consistency. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see it or not. You see that? It just runs off of there like honey. Now you don't want it too thin, you don't want it too thick. And I only use Gorilla Glue. And I get mine at either Walmart or Amazon. This is the best glue I've found. I've never had anything fail, and I always tell people I Most of my customers are either south or like Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, South Carolina, where they get a lot of heat. And knock on wood, so far I've not had anything fail using the Gorilla Glue. Okay, I mean, I just cut these. I've got the full-size sticks, which it fits in my glue gun, and then I can cut it up and put it in my glue pan. But they also have smaller ones too, but I do so much gluing that I use the large sticks. And I think it's like, I don't know, $7 for a package like that. So does anybody else have questions here before I go on to the next one? Hey Terry and Sharon, Joanne, how are you? All right, let me check over here on YouTube. All right, YouTubers, if you have any questions, just go ahead and put them in the comments there and I'll be happy to answer. All right, let's see what other questions we got here. All right, I'm trying to build up my Etsy shop and I wondered what is a good number that I should strive for to have in my shop at all times. Right now, unfortunately, I have a lot of Christmas, so I need to add a lot more, but I don't know how many. Let's see. All right, so there's no magic number. I mean, obviously more is better, but Etsy looks at not just the number of wreaths that you have in there, but it looks at your SEO. It looks at the quality of your shop. Is everything filled out? Shop policies. If your shop policies are not completed, Etsy will not show your items. I mean, it looks at the quality of your products. It looks at your number of sales. It looks at, SEO is important. You have search terms that people are looking for. What else? And I have to say, I notice at different landmarks, like, say you got 25 wreaths, you're going to start do a little bit better as long as everything else is good. You're going to do a little bit better if you get to 50 wreaths. You're going to do a little bit better if you get to 100, and so on. I say just the more you can have, the more variety that you're going to have available for people who are looking for a wreath. Now, not a lot of people are looking for Christmas wreaths right now. This leads me into another question I get asked a lot, is if I have Christmas wreaths, Christmas is over, should I take them out of my shop now? And I say no. You never know what people are looking for. I mean, I've sold a Halloween wreath in February before. I've sold a patriotic wreath in December before. So I say keep all those wreaths in there, and again, that's going to keep, give you the ability to have more wreaths in your shop. But SEO, quality of your photos. If Etsy asks you for information or asks you to fill out a blank, fill it out. All your tags, good titles, that kind of thing. So, hey Julie. All right, well, I hope that helps. But and another thing too, they want you in there working on your shop all the time. Like every day you need to go in there and do a little bit of something in your shop, whether it's tweaking a listing. I know myself, all of us have non-selling items from the year before. As every time a new season comes, I go through there, and items that haven't sold last year, I look at my photos. Do I need to retake my photos? Do I need to tweak my title? Because sometimes the search terms will change. Something that might be popular last year may not be pertinent this year. I look at my listing. Is it priced right? Do I need to kind of tidy up my description? All those kinds of things. I have to tell you, a lot of times those wreaths that haven't sold last year, I do that, and a lot of times I'll increase my price even. Like maybe they I feel like they needed just a little bit more to bring them up a notch, might add a couple of things, increase the price, and a lot of times they sell within about 48 hours. I don't know what it is about it. So, all right. Hi, Eloy, Catherine, any other questions? Do I keep on going with my list here? Okay, Angelina's wanting to know, is UPS cheaper than USPS? Okay, there's a couple of answers for that. The more volume that you have, the more bargaining power you're going to have with the carriers. For example, I ship a lot of items with UPS, and so I was able to bargain a really nice price for my product, or for my shipping. I think, of course, everything's a little bit higher this year. For me, my most common box that I ship is a 24 by 24 by 10, and usually that will ship anywhere from $15 to say $21 in that ballpark. Now, if you don't ship much, you may not get that good of a discount, but for my larger items, I found if I go, and this is even before I had a big volume, if I take the item into the shop, into the UPS store or the FedEx store, and I have them get my mailing label, it's going to be higher. So I always do it online. You can set up a business account, print your own label, package it all yourself, take it in there, and it's generally cheaper. Now, is UPS cheaper than USPS? It depends. For my smaller items, I ship those through the post office. My small items are my ribbon, my bows. Sometimes I might have like a D-stash signs or something like that. And if it's a smaller box, I'm usually better off taking it to the post office. But there again, I get a better rate. Now, if you're on Etsy, I get a better rate if I go through Etsy's shipping labels. There's also Pirate Ship that typically is pretty close to Etsy's rates. But now there's some boxes that are kind of on the line there. I couldn't tell you the exact size, but I had one not too long ago that was probably about like this. I don't remember the exact dimensions, but I ran it through FedEx, or not FedEx, UPS, and then I ran it through the post office, and even though I had to send it priority, it was still cheaper at the post office. So you know, you just got to compare. And again, volume will get you better discounts. You know, if you feel like you're selling a big or mailing a big volume through UPS, pick up the phone and call them. Ask them, can I talk to a rep? I have to say, I did talk to another opposing carrier. They weren't so good to deal with. They weren't so good to bargain with me. In fact, I was able to get half the price at UPS than I was this other carrier. So you just got to shop around. Some people use Parcel Path. I'm not familiar with that because I've been happy with the post office, and post office for my smaller items and UPS for my larger items. So I hope that answers your questions. Best want to know, do I have a scale to weigh my packages? Yes, I do. If so, oh goodness, Beth, it cut off the rest of your question. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I might have to have you, Beth, to put the rest of that question in. I can see the until if so, and then it cut it off. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Oh, if a scale, okay, if so, what kind? I just bought one off of Amazon. I'll show it to you. this is what I have. But I have to tell you, I only weigh my small packages. Now with the UPS, they go more by size. I put a guesstimate weight on them. I put anywhere from 5 to 8 pounds, depending on how heavy the wreath is. But for the larger packages at UPS, they don't go so much by weight. They go more by size. Now, the post office, yes, they do. But this is what I have. And I have to tell you, I even bounced it off the ground the other day, and this part came off. And I stuck it back in there together, and it still works. So, but I tell you, if you're wanting to weigh large packages, this won't work. They have the scales that have the little cord that then you can read it out here, because when you put a big box on here, you can't see what it weighs. So. Okay, Diane's saying, when I do wreath critiques, would you consider doing critiques on ribbon color combinations? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll need examples, but yeah, I'd love to do that. Yes, Christine's right. If your package is less than 16 ounces, Etsy and US Post Office, yeah, I can usually, on my bows, I have a 12 by 12 by 6 box. And they usually will run anywhere from the high $4 to the high $5 range as far as shipping first class. That's right. Patty's wanting to know your standard size box for shipping wreaths. I have 3 different sizes I use. I do a 22 by 22 by 8. Which those are pretty rare. I don't usually make small wreaths like that. My most common one is 24 by 24 by 10, but that box I get a it's like an adjust a size. It goes down. You can score it in 2-inch heights, so it actually goes up to 24 by 24 by 12, but I trim it down. I think it goes down to 24 by 24 by 6, but they are just a little bit more pricey. But for me, it saves a lot of time, because I can it's already scored. All I got to do is cut the 4 corners and then fold it, and I'm ready. But then I also, for my swags, I use a swags and large wreaths, I use a 30 by 24 by 10. And then I've got some new ones that are like 36 inches, but those are pretty unusual. I just use those for like Mardi Gras swags or great big Christmas swags. I don't use those very much. Those will last me a while. So, all right. Let's see, other questions. You guys are asking good questions. Thank you. All right, Diane's wanting to know, do I use any search SEO tools like eRank or Marmalade or sites like that, or do I just use Etsy and stats on my own best sellers and come up with titles and tags? I tell you, I'm a little bit lazy like that, Diane. I have had eRank. I have not. Let's see. I've tried Marmalade. I didn't use Marmalade, and then there's another one. Oh shoot, I can't remember the name of the other one. There's one other one that I've used before, but I'm not very religious at using it. I just go into Etsy and I type in what I think might be a good search term into the search bar, and I see if it populates first. If it populates, then I'll go ahead and I'll enter it to see what the competition is. Now, if it has, say, 200,000 wreaths that come up under that search term, I mean, that's going to be a pretty diluted search term to use. That doesn't mean I won't use it, but I'm going to use other search terms that are better than that. I like to have my number, like whenever like I said, I put it in search term or search bar. If it populates, then it means somebody's searching for it, and then I enter it. And then off to the side, it'll tell you how many listings will fall into that. And I like to have the number like around 2,000, 3,000 at the tops. You don't want to have a real low number either, like say 200. You don't want to have a low number because that means not very many people are looking for them, and not very many people want them. And you'll get a feel for it. Just like if you type in right now, well, I can't do it on that computer. If you type in, say, spring wreath right now, you're going to get hundreds of thousands of wreaths. So you need to kind of dial it down. Search for spring wreaths for front door, or blue spring wreaths, or something like that. And just keep on tweaking it down until it gets down like into 2,000 and 3,000 range. But there again, I'll still use those other terms, but I'm going to put some other beefier ones with it. Okay, let's see. All right, Diane's asking, on a mesh wreath, typically do you add ribbon streamers everywhere and then add bows and signs to that? Would it be more economical to add the bows and signs first, then fill in the ribbon streamers? Or would that result in poor coverage? It could be both, Diane. I like to go ahead and put the streamers everywhere, most times. The only time I can think of when I don't do that is like if I have a huge attachment, like for Christmas, I've got a huge Santa Claus head that I use, and I might not put them where I know where I'm going to put, like on the inside where I know it's not going to be visible right behind that head. Now sometimes too, I might not, like I like to make mesh wreaths with, I'll put a poof base, then I'll put a ruffle base, then I'll put my ribbon streamers. Sometimes I might not even put a mesh ruffle if I know that it's going to be too bulky there. So it just depends. You got to play it by ear. I like to cover everything, because who's to say my buyer may not want to take whatever I put on there off sometime and use it for something else. I have a lot of buyers who are wreath makers also. So you know, who's to say? But to me, it just feels incomplete if I don't do that. Even under a bow, you know, you've got your bow and then you've got your tails down here. I put ribbon streamers down there for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's going to help hold your tails and your bow up forward where it needs to be. And number two, you know, say the wind's blowing. I don't want the wind to blow and somebody sees that there's not anything down there. You know, then they start to question, well, if that's missing, what else is missing in the wreath? So I usually like to go ahead and finish the whole thing, unless it has a reason for bulk, like I said. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, Susan says she uses a 325 degrees on her skillet, or just slightly under. So yeah, and it might be different for everybody. Like I said, I don't have any degrees on mine. Mine's just low, medium, high. So, okay, Nancy's wanting to know, are you the ones showed steaming flowers to straighten them out? I've been showing that for a long time, Nancy. I think I've seen other people doing it now. But yeah, I've done that for quite a while. I also use a flat iron. Now the thing about both of those is that, number one, on my steamer, well, and the flat iron too, I use lower heat, and I just increase it to where I need it. And you can't sit on any one place for a very long time, because like on the flowers, like on this flower, and you got this center here, and it's likely glued in, so you're going to soften that glue. So, you know, it's a possibility you can ruin the flower. Some of them might bleed. If your steamer gets too wet, it might bleed. And you know, some items might melt, like glitter is usually adhered with glue. So you got to be careful. I always test it first, and then if it does okay, then I use it. Okay, Jules wanting to know, is it easier to put a bow on first? I'm assuming you're talking about a grapevine wreath, and I do both. And like the wreath I made last night on the live, I put the bow on first. Or wait a minute, did I? I think I put the bow on first. And the reason I did that was, I know I did now. The reason I did that was this, I had a lavender, well, I was thinking I might have the wreath up here, but I don't. But I had a lavender spray, and it had a little bunch of thistle that was probably about this tall off of the stem. And I wanted to be sure that that thistle was going to show above my bow. So I put the bow on first, and then I could position what I wanted, you know, where I wanted. Same thing with flowers. You don't want to get them too crowded in there. Either that or your bow looks squished, you know. So I do it both ways. Sometimes I put my greenery on first if I want to kind of get a lay of the land first. But most all of the time, I have my bow made first. So I can put it up there and try it on for size and then put it back down. Just once I get a visual of it, then I can go ahead and start placing my greens. But good questions, you guys. Keep them coming. Okay, Jeremiah's wanting to know, how do you know when too much decorations on a wreath, swag, centerpiece, etc.? When should you stop? That is the $1,000,000 question, Jeremiah. You just got to get an eye for it, truly. Sometimes, I have to tell you, sometimes it helps to come back with a fresh eye. I know a lot of times, my problem is I usually have too little on rather than too much. But a lot of times I'll say, do a Facebook Live. I'll go away, come back tomorrow or whatever, and I'll say, you know, it needs this, this, and this. And I always put that caveat at the end of my live, especially if I've got something I always have something for sale that I'm making. And I always tell them, now I might add this, this, and this when I come back. But there's no black and white question. I mean, my mom tells me I put too much stuff on my thing, on my wreath. So, you know, everybody's taste is different. My biggest advice is do what you like. If you like it, then that's what you need to do. I mean, you have to feel good about what you're making. And ask other people. You know, you could, I mean, there's all kinds of wreath groups, and like in my wreath group, we have wreath critiques. Once a week, we always, you know, people can, you know, list their wreaths, and I'll go through them with them. But, you know, always ask somebody else that's been doing it longer. I always advise, don't ask your family. That's a good way to get some bad feelings going on, but don't ask your family. And they don't usually want to, you know, they don't talk wreaths like what we do. Oh, Sherry says she just got an easy bow maker and the pegs are so tight I can hardly get the ribbon through it. Huh. I have to say, Sherry, that's probably not a bad problem to have, because on mine want to splay, and that might be because they did maybe they've had some complaints about that and they tightened that up. I tell you, I would just work with it. Just work with it. I'd be afraid to tell you that if you kind of shave it down a little bit, that then when yours is my age, then it's going to be splayed out even worse. But I think I wish mine were tighter. I really do. I hammer mine in and I've glued mine in, and they still do this. Well, it's right here. I'm looking at it. I mean, look at that. And you know, you guys have heard me hammer them down, but I would, you know what you could do too? I wonder if you put a little powder on them, if maybe that would allow the wreath, or allow the ribbon to slide down. Not a lot, but just enough, because you know how shoes are, how you can put some powder in some shoes. Try that, that might help. I mean, the part that's going down there is not going to be visible anyway, so you might try that. Hey, Vince. All right, I'm looking to see what other questions we've got, you guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having all these questions. I was wondering, I had some backups just in case we didn't get any. Let me pop over actually and see if any YouTubers have questions. Joy's wanting to know, are there any ribbon colors to shy away from? I don't think so, Joy. Now, it depends on what you're making. You know, if you, and two things you've got to consider is, you know, what's the purpose of the ribbon? And what are you going to put on the ribbon? I was looking here. Let me grab something. Whoa. There goes the fluff box. Say you have this sign. You're gonna want some ribbon that is not black. Okay, because if you put this on top of black ribbon or something that has a lot of black in it, I was looking, I had some black ribbon here just now, but I've already put it up. But if you put something that's black or dark around this, say even brown, I know you wouldn't put brown with this, but if just say you would, this sign's going to blend into its background. So you're going to want to use, say, the light green, probably the emerald green would be okay, or even something that had a lot of white on it. And I'm not saying you can't use black on something like this, but it needs to have a lot of difference between this to kind of highlight the sign. Because so many times I hear people, you know, my sign's gotten lost in my wreath. What can I do? Well, you can either stick some lighter colored mesh or lighter colored ribbon, something like that around it. I don't like to use ribbons I don't like. Like, oh, what do I want to say? Like, I'm not a big fan of like the really dark natural looking, like not like a tan or a beige like this color, but darker. You'll see some of that because it just feels like it sucks the life out of it, out of the design. But no, if everything coordinates together and it seems appropriate to the theme that you're following, then no, I don't think there's any color not to use. We even use white. You can use white. In fact, something, you know, a white ribbon, like I said, a white would be a good border to put around this to make that sign pop. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, let's go back to... Oh, you're welcome, Diane. Okay, Sarah says she is interested in my wreath making group. Can I talk more about it? Do I do a new wreath each week? And how far in advance do we know what to purchase? Okay, there's several answers there to tell me. First off, as far as tutorials, we have a new edited formal tutorial every Monday. So if there's 5 Mondays in the month, you get 5 new tutorials that are edited and downloadable. We also have every other week, we have a freestyle live video, and that's like what I just did just now. We did this, and it was, you know, come in without a plan. I came down here, got a few things together, and this is what I made. And, you know, I talk through it. I give suggestions on why I did different things, why you want to put this flower lower than that flower, why the sign goes on this side versus on that side. So I talk through it. And for this, you don't get a supply list with that typically. I usually try to say where I got things and what the SKU number is, but this is more of a spur of the moment type of thing. The Monday tutorials, you did get a supply list, but it comes out with the design. My goal in my wreath making group is for you to learn how to design on your own. Because you may not be able to get the same supplies that I do. In fact, like this, almost all of this was made from leftovers. So I don't know where I got this. I don't know where I got this. This, we looked on the date on this. I have had this since 2017. So you know, so, but what I'm teaching in my wreath making group is the why you do certain things and how to do it. And how do you take a idea and develop a design from start to finish, because especially like this year, I mean, supplies are really hard to come by. And so, you know, yes, I do give you a supply list, but I also try to be available if you can't get what I've used. We talk about suggestions, or sometimes if I know you won't be able to get it, I'll try to go ahead and list those suggestions. Sometimes, like this week, what I used, I told you don't use this because I hated it. This wreath that I just released this week, it was a struggle for me, and I told them, I'm honest with you. I want you to learn how I'm struggling through a design and how I'm working through those struggles. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question. I don't think that, and a lot of times I don't know what I'm going to use until after I've already made it. So even like we had our spring centerpiece workshop this weekend, and I made tentative supply lists, but then it may have been different by the time I got the design made. So, okay. Oh, thank you guys for the hearts. Thank you. I hope that answers your question, Sarah. If not, let me know. I'm happy to answer any more. Oh, Beth, you can't find much ribbon here for springs. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It took me a while. I still haven't got a lot of my spring stuff. And just last week, I finally got some Valentine, but it wasn't all I ordered. So, I don't know. Everything's behind. I do still have some ribbon I haven't listed yet. I don't know. I've been pretty busy the last couple of weeks. So I'm hoping I get it listed here in the next week or so. Okay, and Jacqueline's wanting to know, in the membership, can you watch the videos more than once? Yes, absolutely. And actually, the downloadable ones, or well, the edited ones, you should be able to download and keep it for your forever. I'm in the process, and actually it should have been done by now, but I had problems with the person that was doing it. But I'm moving everything to my website, and once everything gets on there, then yes, you can have that, you know, it's yours to keep. Now, once, you know, say, you know, once you sign up, you're free to cancel at any time. Once you cancel, then you're, you know, whatever you haven't downloaded, then you won't be able to access it anymore. But you should be able to download everything as soon as I post it. You should be able to download it. And if you have any problems with it, then I want you to ask me, because I can't help you if I don't know there's a problem. Okay, let me see if there's any other questions that I'm missing. Okay, Jane's wanting to know, do you always put a sign on a mesh wreath, or can you just use ribbons and florals? No, you don't have to use a sign. Like I said, my mom tells me I put too much stuff on my wreath, so I try every now and then, because in your Etsy shop, in a perfect world, you'd have lower cost things, medium cost things, higher price things, and then the showstoppers. And I'm really bad about not having enough lower priced things, and that would be like the mesh wreath without a sign. Now you have to be careful though, Jane. The florals sometimes will cost as much or more than the sign will, so it's not always cost wise, but yes, absolutely. And you know too, there's some wreath makers that just want to buy the base. Because there's some people that sell a lot of wreaths, and you know, if I were doing it right, I would have a lot of wreath bases made already up, and I try to do that when I'm doing my mesh bases. But a lot of people need that already made so they can just go ahead and finish it out. And I know when I've gone to craft shows, there's ribbon wreaths. There's some that have some ruffles and ribbon. There's some that just have the poofs. Okay, I'm looking to see what other questions you have. This is fun. I like this. We're going to have to start doing this more often. We do this in the Wreath membership group, Terry's Wreath Works. We do this at least, well, we do it once a month. But all day, every day, there's back and forth, the questions getting answered. And it's nice because, you know, say I don't know where to get something. Well, somebody else might have seen it someplace else, you know, so it's really fun. We have a lot of interaction in our group. Hey, Lourdes. Hey, Kelly, how are you? Okay, I see another question, but I can only see part of it. Okay, Beth's asking, have you ever thought about doing a Mckinsey Child's inspired Christmas wreath? I tried to make one last year and wasn't crazy about it. I do not. Actually, Mckinsey's Child, they came back and said we cannot use their ribbon, and they were going after people. Some of the people, I have never bought any, but I know some friends that have, and they actually said they had to take it down from Etsy. You can't mention anything about Mckinsey Child. So I stay real far away from copyrighted items or trademarked items. I know you're saying Mckinsey's Child inspired. I have not. I do have one ribbon. It's not Mckinsey's Child, but I do make a sunflower wreath that has, I guess you could say it's kind of ish that way, the ribbon I use, but it's not Mckinsey Child. It's more of a harlequin shape than actual squares. But no, I don't. Okay, Sarah's saying she has the same problem as Sherry with the Easy Bow Maker. I bet you somebody's been listening about the pegs being so loose. I bet you that's what's happened. Any tips on how to get the bow off without falling apart since you don't have the peg, or the pegs are too tight to get a zip tie in? I tell you, a lot of times I go ahead and lift it off. If I'm not doing a video, a lot of times if I'm using the Easy Bow Maker, I'll go ahead and lift it off. And I just kind of wrap my hand around it, and as I'm going up, I'm putting that zip tie there. Or another thing too, you could use a pipe cleaner. You don't necessarily have to use a zip tie, but a pipe cleaner would fit. I mean, a pipe cleaner will fit in this eye hook very easily. So I'm sure it would fit between those pegs, but try a pipe cleaner. Okay, Beth, I've got another question from you, but I'm not finding where I go. Oh, where I got it. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about scale. I got that on Amazon. Almost everything I get that's miscellaneous, I get on Amazon. I shop there a lot. Yeah, Kathy's saying put your zip tie on first. I don't know if that helped, but you could try it. You probably have to, if it's that tight, you'd probably have to put it sideways. Oh, I answered that one. Okay, thank you, Beth. All right, anybody on YouTube have any questions? Looks like Facebook, we're finishing up on Facebook. Anybody else have any other questions? Last call. I like this though. We'll have to do this again. This has been fun. Give us something different to do, you know. You guys don't realize what some of us go through just trying to think, what can I make tonight that's a little bit different than I did yet last time or last week? Okay, Diane's saying that she has to put her zip ties sideways on the Easy Bow Maker until they lift it off. So there you go. Hopefully that'll help you, Sarah. Oh, you're welcome, Beth. You're welcome. This has been fun. Like I said, I've enjoyed it. Hey, Lynn. All right, any other questions? Like I said, last call. Okay. All right. Oh, thank you guys for the hearts. I really appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. We'll do it again. As I said, my Wreath membership group closes tomorrow at midnight. It will not open again until fall. So if you're sitting on the fence and I think you might want to join, come try us out. I promise you'll like it. Oh, you're welcome, Barbara. Hey, Jen. How are you? Thank you guys so much. It's like I said, it's a monthly recurring membership group. I did put a link both on YouTube and Facebook in the comments, and if you want to go there, look around, then by all means do that. Now, if you do join, though, you should expect to get a welcome email. Sometimes that email goes to your spam. Sometimes if your email filters are strong, it might get bounced away. But there's lots of information in there. It's a very long email with everything you need to know about navigating the group. If you're on Facebook, we've got a Facebook group. You'll need to have the link to join our Facebook group. I'm going to be starting on YouTube also. I think we worked that out this weekend, how I can do the videos on YouTube as well. And so yeah, so if you do not hear from me, with that welcome email, let me know, and then I'll resend you another one, okay? Oh, thank you, Jacqueline. I'm excited. Thank you. Oh, and thank you for the stars. Thank you. You're welcome, Barbara. Oh, so worth it, even if a hobby or gifting adventure. I tell you what, I started my group, I guess it was fall of, not last year, but the year before. And it was right, I think it was either right before or right after the pandemic. I can't remember when it started. And I had several members that told me, I said, that, this group is the only thing that got me through, because people were isolated, and we'd come in, we'd make things, we'd talk, we'd have fun, and it's just a great adventure. It really is. And and by the way, we have a monthly drawing for goodies for a surprise goodie box, and trying to think what other things we do in there. I don't know. Oh, and that's another thing too. If you join, expect to get a copy of the schedule, and there's also a schedule in the Facebook group, so you'll know. And join the text list. I promise I'm not going to just blast you with text unnecessarily. I'll let you know when I'm getting ready to do something, and or if there's, heaven forbid, if something happens that technology's not working and I can't get on the computer, I can tell you, hey, it's going to be a little bit. So. All right, well, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much, and I'll be live again tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to make. I'll make something. It'll probably be about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then maybe I might pop in again in the evening if you have any last-minute questions before the group closes. So thank you guys so much. Stay safe.